So, today I wanted to talk about something that's a little bit different from usual, and that's a fan film. Now, normally, this channel will cover more mainstream examples of storytelling. I felt that I had to share my love for this with the community. A while ago, I stumbled across Batman Broken Promise on YouTube and was absolutely blown away by it. Everything from the writing to the voice work to the absolutely stunning visuals. While Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is commonly referred to as the best example of how to create comic book styled cinematography, the art style used in Batman Broken Promise not only feels like a moving comic book, but fits the character of Batman so well. So today, I'm quickly going to break down what makes Batman Broken Promise so good and why this fan film is worth your time. Okay, so the main thing I want to talk about is the writing of this short fan film. So there are so many Batman-y moments that just show that the creator, Stephen Trumbull, really cares about the Batman character. This Batman is quiet, only speaking when he needs to speak. He's a silent observer, able to infiltrate Scarface's lair without being detected. We don't need to see the details of his investigation that led him there in great depth. This would only slow down the pacing of the film and make it less engaging. The writing keeps the momentum of the plot up excellently through the use of montage to showcase Batman's investigations. The film heavily relies on the amazing visuals to convey meaning to the viewer without having to explicitly say it. Good writing is often said to follow a rule of show, don't tell. And what this concept boils down to is that not every detail should need an explicit dialogue explanation. Doing so makes the audience member feel dumb, as if they're unable to follow the events of the story. It's often used by writers as well who write stories that are too convoluted or not developed enough as a shortcut between plot points, which often comes across as bad writing. Batman in this film is shown to be a master tactician and a man who's always got a plan, which is so Batman-y. Oftentimes, one of my gripes with live action Batman films is that Batman is often 10 steps behind the villain. This is done to build tension, of course, as we, the audience, feel the pressure of Batman winning against the odds. But at the same time, it dumbs down the character in a way that the comic book or animated series counterparts don't. Some notable examples of this in Batman movies would be Batman's failure to recognize the intentions of Talia in The Dark Knight Rises, and Batman not fully figuring out the Riddler's final plan before visiting in Arkham Asylum in The Batman. Whilst one can dismiss the latter especially as being a result of Pattinson's Batman being a younger, less experienced take on the character, I would personally argue that it undercuts Batman's abilities because comic book Batman and the animated series Batman always have a plan, but remain relatable and lovable all the same. Within Broken Promise, we see Batman's tactical side on a variety of different scales, whether it be him disabling the lights with his batarangs, calling in the Batmobile to use as a shield, or in my opinion the best one is Batman using a magnet to steal Harvey's coin to prevent him from passing judgment. This version of Batman is a master tactician, and the writing showcases that excellently without having to explicitly state it within the dialogue. This is clearly a Batman at the top of his game, and it gives the character an added cool factor that most Batmen on screen don't have as much as this one does. The other thing that's written brilliantly is the villains. Picking Scarface, or as he's also known, the ventriloquist, was an inspired choice, showcasing the writer's knowledge of the Batman mythos on a deeper level than the average fan. Scarface works so well in relation to Two-Face as well, because what this becomes is a story about split identity. The ventriloquist, for any who aren't already familiar with the character, is a man named Arnold Wesker who works as a ventriloquist and suffers from multiple personality disorder. His puppet, Scarface, is designed to be almost like a gangster type figure, and this puppet is one of his identities. And when under the personality of the puppet Scarface, Wesker becomes a dangerous crime boss, contrasting Wesker's naturally timid nature. Think of it like if Walter White had Heisenberg as a puppet on his arm. That's the sort of difference between Arnold and Scarface. Two-Face is similarly a character who struggles with identity. After a horrific attack from the mob which left him hideously scarred on one side of his face or face and body, depending on the iteration, he develops a split personality disorder between his former self, Harvey Dent, the DA of Gotham, and the ruthless villain Two-Face, who wants to seek justice in a way he considers to be fair. this being through the flip of a coin to decide your fate at the hands of Two-Face. Both the ventriloquist and Two-Face are characters that battle with the notion of identity. Both are confined by their personas of evil, the villainous side of both being stronger in both of them. The film explores this through Wesker's rebellion against the puppet Scarface when he shoots him, freeing Wesker of that identity, leaving him as a timid, weak man. With Two-Face, the writing chooses to explore his notion of so-called justice, his plan being to poison half the ventriloquist drug supply so that half of all the people who buy drugs die. To Two-Face, this is considered fair because it's a 50-50 chance of criminals being punished. He justifies his actions as he states that if I can't control the crime, I'll control the punishment. Two-Face is trying to assert control over crime in Gotham as he feels responsible to stop it as the former DA. This is where the writing becomes so incredible. At the start of Harvey's speech, he claims that his plan is for no more half measures. In ways, Two-Face's plan is a half measure, because he's literally measuring out half of all the criminals to be punished for their crimes, whilst the other half get away with it. The script ties back to this idea of 50-50 on a number of occasions, which creates excellent foreshadowing as the plot progresses. But what remains intriguing is both Harvey and Two-Face want the same thing, and that is fairness. They want criminals of every class to be punished, not just those from the lower classes of society. Both seek fairness, but the Two-Face persona takes this to its most extreme, much in the same way that the ventriloquist Scarface persona brings out a criminal side to the timid Wesker. The Two-Face persona of Harvey lacks humanity. Both Scarface and Two-Face are goal-driven, caring only about their ends and not their means. For Scarface, this is about the criminal drug empire succeeding, and for Two-Face, this is about seeking his notion of fair justice at any cost. As mentioned earlier, the film's visuals are truly stunning, with a variety of shots being direct recreations of the hugely popular Batman the Animated Series, which to this day is still considered the definitive version of the Batman character by an awful lot of the fanbase. Through its visuals, characterization, and nuanced writing, I feel that this can sort of be seen as a spiritual successor to that hugely popular TV show. Much like how the Batman Arkham games are often viewed as the grown-up, spiritual successor to the animated series, I think this fits into that category perfectly as well. Continuing on the point of visuals, Stephen, you might have created what might be my favourite Batman suit design of all time. Batsuit looks incredible, combining the charm of the animated series design with the real-world utilitarian design of Pattinson's Batsuit, and it fits the Gotham you've created perfectly. The tone is also set brilliantly by the music composed by Claire Wicks, combining eerie music that adds a creepiness to the setting of Gotham, as well as a somber tone that fits the Batman character so well. But the score also features some far more heroic beats that have this grand orchestral feel that align well with the music from the animated series, and it feels quintessentially Batman throughout, and gives the film an added layer of depth in evoking feeling from the audience. The film is incredible. It's about 15 minutes long and it doesn't miss a single beat. And I intend to talk a little bit more about the power of short stories on this channel. I think they're often an underrated and overlooked form of storytelling that often have exceptional writing because there isn't time for plots to become bloated. So thank you to Stephen Trumbull and everyone who worked on this fan film. It's an absolute delight from start to finish, and as a Batman fan, if you haven't already gone to watch it, you should definitely go and do so now. So my take on Batman Broken Promise is that it's perhaps the best Batman fan film that I've seen, and through exceptional writing, amazing visuals, and a clear love for the Batman mythos, it manages to craft a short film that's worth your time. And thank you for your time.